Hello everyone and welcome to StudyIQ. I'm Dr. Mahipal Rathod and today we have with us our guest Mr. Vivek Atray. Mr. Vivek is an ex-IAS officer and today he is a famous motivational speaker. He's a mentor to many CEOs and also to aspirants. He's a mentor to aspirants for government exams as well as a TEDx speaker and author of multiple books. Vivek sir, welcome to StudyIQ.
Thank you, Mahipal. Pleasure.
So Vivek sir has had a very interesting journey and today he is doing excellent in the field of motivational speaking. We will talk to him today about his life journey as well as a message for the aspirants for government examinations, what kind of challenges everybody is facing. He will guide and he will try to give some ideas on how to manage the challenges that are there due to COVID pandemic. So, sir, I would like to begin with your journey. Can you briefly tell us about your life story from your childhood till the time you joined services?
Yeah, so my father was an IPS officer and my mother was an educationist. My father was from the 1963 batch of IPS and he was a very senior officer in Haryana Police, IPS. And he passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 50. So he wasn't still in service. I did my schooling from London, Delhi, and Chandigarh, and also Jaipur a little bit. So he was transferred to all these places. We also went all. He stayed in London for 3 years in the High Commission. So I spent some schooling time there. I had a lot of fondness for cricket. I used to play under 19 level very seriously. I played, and I played C.K. Naidu Trophy twice for KVS. That is Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, which is All India Central Schools. So I had my schooling till about class 8th in Delhi and London, and then I came to Chandigarh for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Then after that, engineering college, NIT Kurukshetra, and electronics and communication was my branch. After that, because I lost my father, I got a job in HCS, Haryana Civil Service, and I was an engineer anyway, so I was just planning my career, preparing for civil services. But then when I got into the HCS, I didn't look back and I had about 26 years in the HCS and IAS. That means about 17 to 18 years in the HCS and about 7 years in the IAS. That's how my career went, and basically most of my career was in Haryana, but I also spent about 8 years on deputation to Chandigarh administration, where I was director IT, tourism, PR, etc.
Okay. So you joined the services right at the time when the liberalization reforms came in after 1991. And it must have been quite an experience to see the change in bureaucracy. Can you share some experiences of your work in the services? I'm talking specifically because India changed a lot from 90s till the time you retired in 2016.
Yeah, I took voluntary retirement, and before my voluntary retirement, I found that a lot of things changed during my career. When I started out, I was SDM Kalka, and SDM Kalka was a very interesting posting. I used to be the main officer in Kalka. It's a small subdivision near Panchkula, Chandigarh. And I used to be very popular. I was in the news. I used to be dynamic, running around, helping people. I would get a lot of public adulation and accolades. And then, in those times, communication was a little less easy. So we used to go to Ambala for our district level meets. And if we go to Ambala, then even getting in touch with my office was a tough thing. Landlines were there. And then gradually things changed a lot in terms of communication. We got pagers first. Then we got mobile phones in 2000. So in 2000, I had come by then to Chandigarh administration. So the main difference I saw in my career was the level of communication that government carries out and the speed with which the government works. So today there is no excuse for the government to work slowly because there's so much of immediate communication possible. Earlier time we used to hear that now the letter has gone from Delhi to Chandigarh or from Chandigarh to let's say Kurukshetra. The letter will reach in 1 week and then he will reply. And, you know, these kind of things were there when I started. So what has improved is telecom, is IT. That is, I was in e-governance for many years. I myself saw the change because I was able to introduce a lot of emailing and a lot of online work in my own departments. Even as early as 92, when I was in my first posting in finance, being an electronics engineer, I remember getting a lot of the finance department data computerized at that time. And during the course of my journey, I was involved with good governance, e-governance measures. I wrote about it also a lot. So I think that is what really changed. And liberalization, of course, started in 91. India also changed. After 2000, it was a boom period for IT. And I was director of IT. The IT Park of Chandigarh came up. E-governance measures came. And then when I took VRS in 2017, a lot of changes were there in the kind of career that civil services officers had. When I had started, there was still a distance with the public. There was still a little bit of stature, grace. Now it had become a little of a mixed bag. So it became a little, let's say, always on. You were always available, always under scrutiny. And the public's expectations also grew, which was a good thing. And then ultimately, I think governance has become more transparent, but other kinds of problems have cropped in.
Okay. So you took VRS from the service in 2016. Usually, it's very rare to see bureaucrats take VRS from service like IAS. What was the reason behind taking an early retirement?
Yeah, 2017 August actually.
Okay.
So what happened was that I was already contemplating this for the last 3 or 4 years in IAS. I had got elevation to IAS in about 2011. And 2011 onwards, I was thinking, in fact, 2010 November is when the notification came. So I thought, now I have reached the pinnacle of governance, and I was also deputy commissioner in 2014-15. I was director of industries after that. I was director of a couple of other departments, and I used to watch my secretaries and principal secretaries. I didn't think that I found myself to be very inspired by what they were doing. I would see them attending one meeting after another, chief minister calling them, and they were always, running here and there at senior stage of their career. So I felt that, I can probably do more outside the government in terms of what I am good at. So I've always been good at public dealing, public speaking, public interaction, motivation. Even in government, I used to motivate people as best as possible in whatever way. I also became a speaker in government. So I started doing TEDx talks and other talks, whichever I was invited for with the permission of the government. And often it would happen only once in 2 months or once in 45 days. And I also started going to Missouri, where the National Center of Good Governance is there. I used to speak on good governance and emotional intelligence leadership, which I still do. I wanted to do more of that. So I became more creative as a speaker, writer, advisor. I thought I cannot do this in government. It would not be right. So let me be out of the government and let me do this more. And now I speak on governance, leadership, people skills, public speaking skills. I advise UPSC aspirants. I do a number of things. So I think I'm more productive to the society at this stage than I was earlier. But I enjoyed my 26 years of service also.
Okay. So now you are into motivational speaking and you consult at many places full-fledged. How does one become a motivational speaker? Is there a route plan or a guidance where one who wants to become a motivational speaker can take some ideas, take some guidance?
There are two ways, I think. One is a formal way. A formal way is you join something like Toastmasters, which is a public speaking club. It's a global thing like Lions Club or Rotary Club. Toastmasters is especially for public speaking. Many people become public speakers after that. And then they may become motivational speakers, or they may do it only as a hobby. There is another way to do it now. You see many online programs on public speaking coaching. So you become a coach by taking a course. You understand the methods of coaching and workshops. And then after doing the course, you have become a formally trained public speaker, motivational speaker, or coach. I think I became a speaker because of my experience, because of motivational speaker. Of course, my communication skills were reasonably good. I could write well, speak well, but the content came from my experience. So whenever I speak now, and I have 3 million views on YouTube, 30 lakh views or so. So I have always spoken from the heart, and I've always spoken about real life incidents, given real life examples, and all my talks are popular because of the content. And therefore, I became a motivational speaker more by uh, virtue of what I was telling them about how life is and how I handled problems and how I came out successful, or I had setbacks and how I overcame them. So I think that inspires people, and the way I speak inspires people. So for me, it was more of a experiential learning and sharing kind of story, not a formal training kind of thing. But I do train others now to become public speakers and coaches. So it's a rare thing, I guess, that I became a motivational speaker. But there are others like me, you'll see, from the army, from the navy, and who are also motivational speakers. So either you should have learned motivational speaking and got some tutored content, or you should have learned something from life and got some real content and something to talk about.
Okay. We are glad that you got your content from your own experience, and I personally, I think that's the best. That those kind of motivational speakers, I personally find them the best. Now, coming to your writing uh, activities, you have written multiple books. Even when you were in the services, you wrote a few stories and you wrote a couple of novels. After that, you have recently written a book called Finding Success Within, which is a motivational book, and I think every young aspirant should read it. But for those of those aspirants who do not have the time to read it, can you briefly tell us what you exactly are aiming at via this book? What is the theme of this book, Finding Success Within?
Yes, so this is the book. It's called Finding Success Within, 52 Life Skills for Young Indians. It is about how life can be handled well and how you can be successful in life. And I have basically put in 26 or 27 points on career and the remaining on life itself, as to how you can handle the problems and ups and downs of life. So one of the chapters which might catch your interest immediately in the career skills portion is handling difficult bosses. It's just an example of the 52 skills I've given. Everybody has difficult bosses at times. Everybody has difficult colleagues and subordinates also. So I have given some ideas as to how you should handle relationships at work. I also speak on interpersonal relationships at work, so it's a very important topic. I feel that you should communicate more. Many a time the boss is unreasonable, but you have not talked to him or requested her or whoever the boss is that, sir, this is my point of view. And when you are in an emergency situation, the boss will not listen to you because he wants that work done, whatever it is. But when it is an off time or it is a cool time, it is a good idea to take an appointment with that boss for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever time he or she has. Go and meet him or her and tell him or her. At that occasion I tried my best, but this was what you said and this is what. So I just want to explain. I am giving my best to the organization. I will continue to do so. So just have a bit of communication more with that boss. If he's still unreasonable, then you can always complain to somebody senior if he's very tough. And if the organization knows that you have tried your best to communicate with him or her and then come to the seniors, then it is a better idea. So I've handled these kinds of issues. I've also mentioned life skills like, I feel I talk about the 8 C's. And 8 C's are my own creation in many ways. So I talk about character, courage, creativity, calmness, cheerfulness, contentment, compassion, and of course the all important communication skills. These things I've also mentioned in the book, that these kinds of qualities are very, very important. I also mention things like inspiration, innovation, integrity, and I also talk about how we must see the bigger picture of life and how we must also not only think about our body and our mind, but also our soul. It's important to have a balanced life, spiritual life also. And of course, enjoy all the pleasures of the world and do your best to be successful as much as you can. I also talk about the fact that money, power, and fame are fleeting and transient and temporary. They are not going to be permanent. So money, as well as power, as well as fame will come and go. And don't be attached to them too much. make your own identity. Don't be wedded to your career or your post, and be known by your name rather than director so and so or CEO of so and so. Be an individual who is searching for happiness over success. So the real message of the book is that success is to be found from within, from our heart, from our soul, from our internal processes. The inner battle of life has to be won. That means that we are not to just chase after material dreams like a house, a car, a bigger house, a bigger car, getting married to the most beautiful woman in the world, or whatever it is, vice versa. It is not what we are looking for. We are looking for inner peace. Ultimately, we'll never be happy unless we conquer the inner demons and fears and worries. So the inner battle is what we have to win. And these life skills and career skills actually help. So that was a long answer, but I thought I must summarize what I'm trying to say in my book.
No, sir, definitely not a long answer. Every word was worth it. To all those viewers listening, they will face such kind of situations in their life sooner or later. Now, coming to the problems of students right now who are aspiring to become officers, IAS officer, bank officers. Right now, many exams have been postponed. Although civil services exam was recently held, but many other exams have been postponed due to COVID, and the studies of these aspirants have been hit. What kind of message would you like to give them? How do they keep their mental composure, their mental calm in these times of pandemic?
Very true, Mahipal. I think you're absolutely right. It is a difficult time. I have written about this and I've spoken about it. I would like to say that the pandemic is a phase. Whatever time it takes, however many months or whatever it takes, it will not stay forever. That's number one. Number two, the same situation is applicable for everybody in the world at a macro level. Everybody is facing the pandemic. There's nobody who can say that I am not facing the pandemic. Everybody. It is a pandemic because it's global. Number three, if we are in a particular situation, like an exam has been postponed, an interview got postponed, we lost our job, it is something unique to us, but it is, let's say, it's the result of a global pandemic. So this downturn will give way to better times for sure. Jobs which have been lost will come back in some way next year or whatever it is. Exams which have been postponed will take place sooner or later. That same process which was yours for now will happen some other time. So you will get those chances, you will get that kind of platform to excel. What you need to do is to retain your calmness and composure. Those who become restless, irritated, angry, nervous, shouting kind of people, they are losing the battle of life because they are being provoked by tensions and worries, which are beyond their control. So if somebody is saying something to me at a bus stop, let's say I'm standing at a bus stop, though it's a long time since I stood at a bus stop, but still, somebody is passing by and he passes a remark at me, look at this shirt of his or whatever it is. I should not be provoked, but I'm human, so I get a little bit provoked, right? However, if I'm able to retain my emotional intelligence and not react in a negative manner, it means I have won the battle over him. He has stooped to a low level by saying something. Even Eve teasers at times are silly, stupid people. And the lady concerned is right to take action against them. But sometimes it may happen that she can just ignore something she heard in the background and not get perturbed and move on with her life. At times she takes them on and at times she doesn't. Even she just ignores them. So being like that gives you the upper hand in life. If you are like that with vis-a-vis the mishappenings of your life also, something got postponed, even a wedding ceremony got postponed, an exam got postponed, somebody broke up a relationship or a job got lost. What do you have to do? You have to bounce back as quickly as possible. So if I am a human being who felt low for 2 days, it's normal, it's okay. I feel low about something. However, I don't go on feeling low for 2 years or even for 2 months. I should be feeling better every day after the event has taken place, mentally and in my mind. I should have started becoming detached from that mishappening in my life. So the moment I distance myself from the grievance or the pain, I become stronger. It's difficult. We are human, but some people are better than others at it. So why can't we be better than what we are now? So we need to really improve our mindset. If we improve our mindset, we'll go for the exam whenever it is held and we'll do our best. If we don't improve our mindset, we'll be nervous to bits and we won't be able to study hard. And when the exam comes, we won't be at our best. So to be at our best when the exam comes is our duty. So just keep yourself mentally charged and tell yourself that whatever is happening to me, it will pass one day. And the last thing I'll say on this point is that Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the autobiography of a yogi, I have the book here. So it's a great book to read. And if you look at it, you will benefit if I just show the book cover. Paramahansa Yogananda, it is not a religious book, it's a spiritual book. And it's India's most famous book on meditation and yoga, autobiography of a yogi. He says, stand unshaken amid the crash of breaking worlds. What a quote, it is powerful. He said, the world may be crashing around you. You stand unshaken. Don't let your mind be so worried by what is happening. So if we are mentally strong, the battle of life will be won.
Wow. Those are some really good words of wisdom, and I'm sure they will be very helpful to all the aspirants that are watching this. So just an additional question for the aspirants only. Every aspirant today is going to become an officer tomorrow. And as you mentioned, that communication is very important, maybe with your boss or colleagues. Can you recommend 2 simple activities that anyone can do in their day-to-day life that can improve their communication skill?
Yeah, I'll tell you 3, in fact, quickly. One is reading books is very important. The more you read, the more your communication improves. You read expressions, you read words which you somewhere ingrain in your mind. You may remember them after 1 year. You don't even remember how you remember them, but you read something carefully and you can improve your communication. So read good authors, read good books, read my book, read Paramahansa Yogananda, read even novels. I would say read anything that you feel is my favorite author is the greatest communicator in writing, P.G. Wodehouse. Wodehouse was writing such magic with words. I got inspired to write. Now I have a column in the Hindustan Times. I write fortnightly. I write books, as you know. So I really think reading helps communication. Secondly, you must write as much as you can. That means creative writing. Write an essay. It also helps in your UPSC preparation or any other exam. And you also write on something like write an incident from your childhood, write about something you saw on the road, make it a habit to write. Then your communication skill also improves. Learn a couple of new words per day, that is also good. But the third thing is oral communication can be improved by speaking in front of the camera. You have a phone nowadays, put your phone, record yourself for 3 to 4 minutes on elections, on industry, on sports, on cinema, on current affairs. Just speak into the camera and you have a listener. So you can record it and watch yourself over the weeks. How am I going? Am I becoming better? Show your sister or brother or friend or teacher that video, or make them sit down and do it live. And if they are your little sister, brother, give them a chocolate after that so that they don't run away during your speech. They'll get bored very quickly. So this is how to communicate better, by going on practicing, and you'll get better.
Okay. So lastly, I would like you to give a small message for college going students, because people who are in college right now, within the next 1 or 2 years, they will be part of that crowd, if I must use that word, who will be looking for jobs. And if you can give any advice or any words of wisdom for them, how to go about their job seeking activity and how to find the perfect satisfactory job.
I'm absolutely happy to do that because I keep speaking to the youth of colleges and I speak to a lot of young professionals also. So I think it's very important for them to firstly enjoy their college years, because that is when you are making friendships which last forever. You are going to be free to do what you like in college years without really getting bogged down by family life and jobs and expectations later. Thirdly, you must study your subject very well and become adept at whatever your course is. So if you are doing geography or history or physics or engineering or medicine, you have to be good at your work. There is no doubt about that. So balance your life. Jobs will come. Jobs will come if you have quality. I mentioned 8 C's. If you have these 8 C's, if you have skills of your subject, you will get jobs. You will also do well to develop your emotional intelligence. Focus on anger management. Focus on time management. Focus on your patience, your own creativity. You will be surprised to know that companies are, or governments also are looking at balanced personalities, not only technically qualified people. So it's very important for you to have your creative skills developed, your photography, writing, music, art. These kinds of things are also extremely important to develop in your college years. When you go for your job, they will be happy to see someone who is creative, who is balanced, who is a good communicator, cheerful, and good at his subject or her subject. Very, very important to be balanced. And lastly, make use of social media in a judicious way. So I am on social media. I am on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I get messages from the youth all over India. Stay connected with me also. But whenever you go to the social media, balance your time, switch off when you have to, read a book instead, go for a walk, be physically active as well. If you balance your life like this, life will look up very well and you'll get a great career ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That was really good advice for all the college going students. And I hope that all your words of advice are useful for them. And we thank you so much for taking out time from your schedule and agreeing to come on StudyIQ. Thank you so much. And to all our viewers, thank you for watching this. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Stay connected. Keep in touch.